Hello everyone, welcome back to Say What with James and Lakesia. I am Lakesia.
I'm James.
And we're here to give you guys our movie review for The Last Breath. We just left the movie theater watching this movie, and this movie had me on the edge of my seat. I have not been this deep in a movie like I was, except for The Sound of Freedom. This was inspired by a true story. And basically, it had I was just like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? I'm praying. I'm hoping. Basically, this film is about gentlemen who go.
They're divers that fix pipes that run under the ocean.
Yes, they're basically. They work on the pipeline that's in the ocean. They're deep sea divers. And basically it just says that The Last Breath was directed by Alex Parkinson, written by Parkinson. And it is a feature film remake of the 2019 documentary that Parkinson co-directed with Richard DaCosta. It follows a group of deep sea divers who race to rescue a stranded teammate after an accident. And I'm telling you, I was on the edge of my seat. Basically, when we looked at the movies to see tonight, we saw this movie. We saw that it had Woody Harrelson in it. Yeah. Also said that it had
Digimon anyway. He was nowhere to be seen. I don't know why they had him in as far as the cast, because he wasn't in the movie.
No, he definitely wasn't. But basically, they go on deployments. And
they do rotations in the ocean. It was his team and two other teams that was going down to fix on that pipeline.
Yes, and it was during a storm too.
Yeah, I think that
was
probably the
storm.
problem.
And I'm like, okay, are they still gonna have the crew go down? But while they're on rotation, the fellow divers live on board a vessel in a pressurized chamber with which stimulate conditions similar to those found approximately 300 feet below sea level, the depth at which the divers work. The divers are transported to and from the chamber by a specialized diving bell, which is lowered to depth from the ship and allows the divers to remain at pressure for the entirety of their 4-week work rotation. And basically during that storm, the lines that supplied them with
when they went down, the dude Chris and the other guy, I think his name was
hold right there. This is a spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, watch it first.
Them two went down while Woody Harrelson he stays on the little whatever type of craft it is.
Ball,
yeah. And he
diving bell.
And he unleashes the they called it the umbilical cord. That's what they would call it.
Because it says
it holds their air system into it, and they go down into the depth. And then what they had to do, they had to fix. It was some pressure with that.
It's right here because the dynamic positioning system experiences a malfunction, causing the ship to begin to drift away from the work site. The bell is dragged along.
They say, hey, they got to get back up.
And they scramble to climb to the top of the manifold.
Because of the weather.
So that they will be
because all the
unobstructed when they are
the system
pulled along.
went down. You remember on the ship, the system went down, so they couldn't really control the ship. So it was veering off, and what happened? They had to try and get back up, and the one guy's
Chris was the young guy that was in there. Duncan must have been the older guy that Woody Harrelson played, and David Yasa was the other guy. And the only thing about his character, he had a serious demeanor to him, but he was about that work.
The business here, you do. Even when they got on the thing and
the ship,
old boy had his picture of his girlfriend. He was like, "Look, you gotta leave all that out there. We gotta be focused." And
it says that I guess
but
Chris's
it was Chris's thing got caught.
his umbilical runs out of slack before he can make it to the top of the manifold, causing the line to become entangled in the structure of the manifold.
And while the ship was starting to twist from the storm and pulled them away, he was still stuck on it.
Yeah, and he was freaking out. And then that's when David told him to switch to the bailout airline, which will provide him with 10 minutes of emergency oxygen. But he also told him to make sure you climb back to the top of the manifold and I will come get you. But meanwhile, the ship's drifting off. Everything is chaos on board the ship. They have to figure out whether to reboot the system and put everybody else in the ship in jeopardy, to go back and save diver number 2, which was actually Chris, or just let things play out. So they decided to, reboot the system. Everybody was working all hands on deck.
He thought he could do it.
All hands on deck. They go back and they send it was some type of device that had a camera on it. It was a ROV.
Yeah.
And they sent it back, and it was able to find Chris was laying on top of the manifold. By this time, he was like, 15 seconds without air.
No, he was more than that. And he was in the 15 minutes at that point, when it was at 15 minutes out without oxygen. When they tried to use the device to degrab it. He did get it to grab it. Only thing
but he had to latch himself onto the manifold so he wouldn't drift.
He wouldn't drop off, and they definitely wouldn't find him.
But they were able to the device, the ROV was able to locate him. They were able to reboot the system, get the ship to go back, get David to go back down there to get him. Chris. And he was having a hard time because the ship's crashing into waves and it was just a big mess. And he was like, I don't think I can pull him. And by this time, poor Chris, he laid out. He was just like dead weight. He had to put him on there. But the one thing that I can say is that they were able to successfully pull him back into the little device, the bell, and it was nothing but the Lord. He was without air for 29 minutes. And he actually,
brain dead.
Woody Harrelson's character, which was Duncan, he starts to do CPR on him, and he's just like, well, he's unresponsive, because everybody in the ship, they're like, okay, so what's going on with him? What's going on with him? And he's like, well, he's breathing, but he's unresponsive. And so then David, he's like, come on, Chris, and then they're all down because they're thinking, hey, he's just been without oxygen too long.
Because David was like, he's been gone too long.
And so then he looks up because, David had that serious demeanor. He was like, what's going on, David? And everybody was just like rejoicing. They were just so happy. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's nothing but the Lord. And
yeah, that was God.
He actually fully recovered with no long-term effects.
No mental damage.
Yes,
nothing.
And it was just so, amazing that even the guy David, who had told him, you leave that stuff down there, he had to look at a picture of his girls.
Yeah, he pulled a picture out of his
and it made him teary-eyed. And it was just like everybody was crying on the boat. They were rejoicing. It was just a miracle. 29 minutes. And so then he was able to go back home. Him and his fiance, he was actually engaged and they were planning their wedding. He was actually able to go back home to his fiance, and she told him basically, be safe.
Yeah, you come back to me.
And he told her, there was an accident, and she was just,
and she knew,
forever grateful that he was safe.
Him. She knew it was him though when he was saying all that, and they had to rescue the guy. She was like, it was you, wasn't it?
And so at the end, they just showed them getting married, and they showed the guy that Woody Harrelson played, Duncan, at the wedding, and they actually went back out three weeks later to complete.
They went back to complete the job.
And the weird thing is that
But remember, Duncan supposed to be retired, but he was there for that one.
He couldn't. It was in him. That was a job that he loved to do. It was dangerous, but he loved to do it. And at the end, they said that there was they couldn't explain how he made it without air 29 minutes.
29
I can.
minutes. Yeah.
It was nothing but the Lord.
That
That was a miracle. That was a miracle. Just like Breakthrough,
Definitely
when the
a
young man was under that ice all that time and he, came back to, that was nothing but the Lord. They said that they couldn't explain it, modern medicine. Yeah, but I can.
Yeah.
It was nothing but the Lord. But that was a great movie. Even though we're all over the place with our little review, it was still a great movie. And I did get a little teary-eyed, but I did not cry.
Yeah,
James.
that's all I want to piece of that.
I did, because it was just, I'm gonna tell you, I was on the edge of my seat. I was talking to, good thing that we weren't the only two in there, because I was talking to the movie, I was talking to the screen. I was like, come on, Chris. So, yeah, hey, it was a great movie. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And miracles happen every day.
All the time.
Highly recommended. You have anything else to say, sir?
That's it.
All right, let us know if you watched the movie, what you thought about it. If you watched the documentary, what did you think about that? Because that's up next on our list. We're going to watch that documentary. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care.